You now know how to make your robot travel through the labyrinth by controlling how long and how fast the motors spin. It's a great start, but not a great overall solution. The manual adjustments you made won't be the same for every robot. And as the battery power drains, the robot will travel shorter and shorter distances in the same amount of time. In this lesson, you will learn how the shaft encoders can be used to control how far the robot moves. Then open and explore a sample program that uses them. The shaft encoder is sometimes called a rotation sensor. A shaft encoder measures the amount of rotation on a shaft or axle, which passes through the encoder's center. As the axle turns, the encoder counts. The shaft encoder measures 360 counts per revolution and counts up for forward movements and down for reverse. By monitoring the axles connected to your robot's wheels, the encoders allow you to control the overall distance the robot travels. Let's get started. In Robot C, go to File, Open Sample Program. Open Shaft Encoders and select Forward for Distance. The program can be broken down into 4 main parts. The first few lines at the top of the program are called pragma statements, which configure Robot C to work with the quadrature encoders connected to your robot. Don't worry about having to memorize these lines of code. They were automatically generated using the built-in Motors and Sensor Setup window. Next, these 2 statements set the encoders to start counting at 0. The encoders should be set to 0 every time you want to use them to control the distance the robot travels. Then we have the while loop, so called because, well, look, while. The while loop repeats the code between its curly braces while this code between the parentheses is true. We'll go into more detail in an upcoming lesson. Finally, there's a set of forward movement commands, which you're probably familiar with by now. Let's try it out, but don't get too relaxed. Once we see it run, we're going to reverse engineer it in more depth to see how it works. Make sure your robot is turned on and connected, and go to Robot, Compile and Download Program, and run it. The robot waits for 2 seconds, moves forward, and stops. In this lesson, you learn that the encoders monitor the amount of rotation on a shaft, giving you the ability to control the distance your robot moves, and used existing sample code to program the robot to do just that. Great! Now move on to the next lesson to take a closer look at how it all works.